This is a slide set about the Ethical Aquatic Food Index. It's a new tool that's been developed by the Sustaining Ethical Aquaculture Trade project funded by the European Framework 7 programme. It's based on primary research in 4 countries in Asia: Bangladesh, China, Thailand and Vietnam. And we worked in specific areas of these countries, as you can see from these maps. And it's in response to interest from retailers and other European concerns about standards in aquaculture and trying to promote greater sustainability. Such retailers include Marks and Spencer's, who we've had discussions with about using and commercializing the EAFI. We've also talked to a variety of other actors in the European seafood sector, and this includes brand owners and processors such as Young Seafood, part of the Findus Group, that's very active throughout Europe, in response to their stated needs to improve the sustainability of farm seafood. We've also talked to organisations such as Sustainable Fisheries Partnership, which is an organisation that's promoting sustainable sourcing of seafood. And in our discussions, it appears that there is an awful lot of possibilities for them to use the EAFI and for us to tailor the EAFI's further development to their needs. Of course, this is responding to aquaculture growing faster than any other food sector. And this growth has been particularly dynamic in Asia, in the countries that we've been working in, which the EU's funded us to do this work. And that's why we're doing this work in Asia, and where we first applied the EAFI, although it could be applied anywhere. So the EAFI's been developed in response to the stated needs of the sector. It's not a certification scheme. It aims to support and improve certification schemes as are already in being used. And we developed it as a research team, but very much in collaboration with all the other stakeholders that the research project worked with. And this is a summary of what it is and how we've done it. It's a simple hierarchical tiered assessment framework that helps in decision making of these key players who are buying seafood and trying to improve its sustainability. It's based on really looking at 4 broad themes in terms of sustainability: economic, welfare, environment and governance. And we've used a whole range of different aspects of sustainability to bring this together. Of course, a whole range of different ecosystems are used to produce seafood. So here are the 4, if you like, themes encompassed and the sort of principles that align with those themes. So the EAFI sets out to embrace, if you like, a more comprehensive understanding of sustainability. So looking in more detail at the indicators used for a specific criteria here, you can see the sort of level of analysis that underlies the development of the EAFI. Principle 7, maintaining regional and global environmental quality. We're not just looking at local environmental quality, but using life cycle assessment tools, for example, to look at the global implications of aquaculture in Asia. Once this primary data and informed expert opinion has been included in the EAFI, it's been really subject to rigorous statistical analysis, normalization, weighting, in consultation with statisticians, and the results have been based essentially on 22 criteria and 42 different indicators. And what we're presenting here is really the outcome of 2 case studies of many that we've done based on shrimp in Bangladesh and pangasius catfish in Vietnam. The results are, as you'll see, presented as stacked bar charts. Green is good, red is not so good, and grey is no data. So from this you get a snapshot for these 4 different themes: governance, environment, welfare and economic, of how Vietnamese pangasius measures up. And similarly for Bangladeshi shrimp, green is good, red is not so good. You can see the areas of most concern in terms of these pillars of sustainability and the ones that are least worrying. And of course, because we've looked at aquaculture very much through the lens of scale, we've looked at aquaculture production enterprises as small, medium and larger scale enterprises, and you can see here for Vietnamese pangasius, you know, the impacts that factor makes on these pillars. And similarly for Bangladeshi shrimp, perhaps less difference than you might think, some being more different by scale and some less. So the welfare obviously being more different than some of the other pillars here in this particular case. Looking at Vietnamese pangasius, this is by principle the 9 principles that we used relating to the 4 themes, and you can see that while there's concerns about animal health and welfare standards, aspects such as contribution to regional growth are strong. So it's a question of how you balance these different sustainability aspects, and this is what the EAFI tries to do by giving this snapshot. When we look at Bangladeshi shrimp by principle, again we see some interesting characteristics that certainly there's a big contribution to sustainable regional economic growth, but some concerns over the ethics of the industry, indeed the governance of the sector, as has been pointed out both through our own primary data collection and many secondary data reports. So in conclusion, it's an EAFI that's a prototype developed with key stakeholders that we've presented to you, and we focus on these 4 farmed aquatic commodities from 4 countries, but presented detailed case studies of 2 of them. And we encourage you to get in touch to discuss the EAFI further.